Are you ready to transform your summer into an epic splash-tastic adventure? Say goodbye to wasteful, single-use water balloons and hello to the ultimate in reusable, eco-friendly fun with reusable water balloons. Check out the link in the video description to get yours on Amazon today.
It's a phenomenon that deserves to be recognized. Gen Z is crying out, somewhat surprisingly, over the iconic, but archaic, now that's what I call music brand. That's right, despite streaming becoming the way we consume music in the 21st century, the world's best-selling compilation album remains a tour de force in the industry and is, remarkably, an enduring compilation series among the younger generation who grew up with Spotify. The Now brand, which has sold a whopping 200 million plus since its inception decades ago, has an astonishingly enduring legacy, but why is Gen Z so obsessed with it? Despite the era of streaming, Now is a surprising behemoth for under 30s in 2024 and it's enticing Gen Z with its newly released latest edition. Now That's What I Call Music 118, packed with tracks from younger artists such as Benson Boone, Chappell Roan, Billie Eilish and Sabrina Carpenter. However, they are also exploring the Now archives to hear the biggest hits compiled of any given year, and it makes an ideal opportunity for them to discover new music from the 80s and 90s. Probably the two most popular old decades for the younger crowd today. For Gen Z, delving into the 90s music scene offers a treasure trove of sounds that have paved the way for the artists of today, and this newfound appreciation is influencing their music consumption. Platforms like TikTok are also introducing younger audiences to songs from previous decades through viral challenges and trends. Hey, it's good for something, right? If you search for the Now brand on TikTok, you will see scores of videos from TikTokers creating funny and informative videos about the Now brand. American teenager Damian Gandia is so passionate about the Now brand he has dedicated his very own YouTube channel to it. At 18 years old, he wasn't even born when his favorite Now album was released in the USA in July 2002, but he considers it a total classic thanks to the inclusion of tracks like Britney Spears' Overprotected and Nickelback's How You Remind Me. Damian is an avid collector of Now CDs and is adamant that there is still a need for the Now brand, despite there being endless playlists available on various streaming services. He feels that its selling points are that it offers something unique in the way it collates the tracks, and he considers it to be a life changer. As dumb as it sounds, it's kind of changed my life, he says. It provided me with a different format for listening to music. It's a phenomenon that deserves to be recognized. Jerry Cohen, the chief operating officer for Now, has overseen the release of 175 Now albums in the U.S., and says the Now brand has a very loyal group of fans and that it attracts a wide demographic which includes Gen Z kids like Demi, millennials as well as older listeners, too. This includes James Dean, 50, from Manchester, who remembers receiving the first ever edition of Now That's What I Call Music for Christmas on cassette in 1983, and thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. He continues, I remember getting my first, Now That's What I Call Music for Christmas. It was the very first one, on a double cassette, and I listened to it on my Walkman, on repeat until I almost wore it out. It introduced me to some of the most iconic bands that I have listened to all my life, Culture Club, The Cure, The Human League. Culture Club in particular, gave me one of my first glimpses of LGBT culture and people, my people. And the teenagers of today are equally as dazzled by the Now anthology and compilation trend, and listening back to these sonic time capsules that transport you back to a real moment in time. You can literally feel the charts of whatever year you are listening back to. Eliza, 17, from Bournemouth, was first introduced to the Now series as a young child and still devours her favorite albums today, despite Spotify having the monopoly on music consumption in 2024. What I love about the collections is that there's always something for everyone on each album. There's never one song on the albums that someone doesn't like, she notes. Her discerning music taste shaped her youth, and she is now the bass player in up-and-coming band, the Blue Mondays, whose music is clearly influenced by the tunes she digested as a child. Unsurprisingly, Eliza's favorite Now album is the first ever album made in 1983, which features Phil Collins, Madness, Duran,